G'day guys, welcome back to another video here with Eno from Fantasy Take TV. Going to be going over the round 17 SuperCoach round review. Missed last week's review actually as well. Been pretty busy at the moment. Starting an internship, doing a few things, just working a lot. So didn't have too much time recently, but I guess I'll update the last couple of weeks. They haven't been good. If you haven't seen or don't follow my team in particular, that it hasn't been good. I think it was like 2,400 last week, not even, just under, and then under par again this week. So I think it was about 800th a couple of weeks ago. So I've doubled that since then to sit at 1.6k. Sort of expected to drop some ranks since I'm holding Sicily through suspension, but yeah, I guess it's probably as best of I really could have hoped, to be honest, fielding Windhager for a couple, if that was Sheldrick, I guess, for a couple of those weeks where, he was scoring 90 and 100, I would have held rank a little bit better. But then with Dunkley out this week as well, had to field Chincotta down in defence. So it hasn't been great the last couple of weeks, but get Sicily back this week. I believe Dunks will probably miss another week, so we'll have to field Windhager once again, and just hope to get a decent score out of him, and then push the last 6 weeks. And I kind of knew my season was done, basically probably 2 months ago. So as far as getting a really good rank, I've sort of taken a couple of risks. Keeping Briggs, getting rid of English a few weeks ago. Holding Sicily, of course, as well, is another risk. So I missed out on some points there. I got Butters in, who hasn't actually done too well the last couple of weeks, as he's actually a bit of a pod, and then don't own Zach Merritt either. So going through what George went through last year, I've said it plenty of times in my week reviews. That week to get him in, I got in Stewart instead for whatever reason, then got Laird, and it just hasn't panned out. So I probably should have got him over Laird, or definitely should have. He's averaging something like 135 the last 6 or 7 weeks, and so I've missed out there too. And then to top it all off, I got Track in this week, who scored okay, or scored well, 120, but he kicked 4 goals and is supposedly going to be playing a bit more forward than we'd like for the run home. So 24.89. Not going to run too deep into how my team went. Defense is very standard across the board. Everyone sort of owns these guys. Naz, my sort of lower owned player there, had a poor last week, but it's been pretty good for me most of the time I've owned him. I think he's sort of up and down, unfortunately. They scoring the wet against the Tigers was annoying. Had, really good first half, and then against West Coast, didn't watch that game last week, but not too sure what happened there. But he's pretty solid, and I think, with Sinclair playing a bit more up the ground, it definitely helps him in that sense. Bont, Neil, sort of expected from those guys most weeks these days. Petraka, as we said, who have got in and got him over Merritt. Merritt's 90% owned of teams above me at this point. So going for someone like Track, who's still very low owned, is probably what I thought. Well, it is what I thought could just maybe make a bit of a point of difference. And went well this week, as I said. But yeah, hopefully he plays a bit more midfield. But we won't know for sure, and who knows what Goodwin's going to do. Laird got a solid score in the end, but he's been a bit frustrating. Brayshaw's been good since getting him. Sarong up and down, very good last week, but is prone to a poorer game like this with his disposal. Tommy Green, everyone's got him mostly still, and he's very up and down himself. And then Walsh actually really good this last couple of weeks, or probably 3 in particular. Coinciding with Carlton wins, of course. They've sort of bounced back into a bit of form, and he spent most of the time in the midfield there and has been a large component of that. So good to see. Rowan, very good. Briggs, good, but just isn't matching English and what he's doing still. So, I sort of knew there was going to be probably a 20-point gap there, 15-20, and it's just probably on the higher side than you'd like, because English just doesn't really have a bad game in him. Last week, whether it was just getting 10 tackles, I think he got in the end. This week wasn't tackling much, but still did well in other areas. He scores in so many different ways. And Briggs is a solid player himself, but it's just not going to be quite English scoring. Goulden got the VC there, so I actually hit a VC this week, and it was the week that didn't really matter because most people either got a nil. They might have taken a Bont. I didn't look at the final stats on that, but maybe I got 20 points there on the Bont. People who took him, but nil matching Goulden basically. So one week I hit a VC. I don't get too much out of it. Timmy so been down for the last couple of weeks. Rosie pretty decent. I think finished pretty slowly. Had a good game in the first half or so. Butters, as I said at the start, a little bit disappointing since getting him in. DC's a little bit of a worry, I'll be honest. Plays Shrek this week. I don't expect much from him against him. Would probably love to have someone else there for the run home, like a Cogs or something. As much as Cogs is frustrating for people that do own him, he's been in really good form this year as far as finding the footy. Inside 50s, getting on the score sheet as well, kicking a few goals. And then Windhager there covering for us. Not too much to talk about. Sicily comes back for me here. Can send Chincotta to the bench. He'll be our cover there and actually has a bit of a mid-swing. We just don't really have a way of getting him there without a trade. And then Dunks, sit here until he comes back, and we've just got Windhager as cover. He'll have to cover Dunks if he doesn't play. I don't think he will. We'll see. And then, from there on, we've just riding the wave home to the end of the season. I think VC Dacos looks pretty good this week at the G. Freo, bit of a rabble at the minute. And Nick's just in incredible form, as he has been really since he stepped foot on an AFL field bloody last year. And then maybe Timmy is a captain in the last game on a Sunday against West Coast. A little bit, nervous always doing that. I don't really care too much these days anymore. Maybe Sicily in his first game back against North. One of those two I'll settle on. And then we've got 2 trades left, 20k in the bank, sort of for any injuries. Nothing here I really see worth doing. I don't think we can quite get Rowan to English or something like that. Not like I'd do it anyway. Rowan's in really good form. No, English is 640k. What am I thinking? And there's not really much else to do. So I think we'll just save those 2 trades for a rainy day. Any long-term injuries, if they're short like Dunkley, probably just use Windhager as cover. Can we get DC to anyone decent? Probably not either. 3-round average. Can't afford Cogs. Can't afford, not even Ben Keys, who I wouldn't probably want now. Nick Martin's pushing 600k, which is crazy. Dusty. I mean, you wouldn't go there, would you? Probably not. Not much else, so can't really do anything there. In defence, could you get someone like a Luke Ryan? I think I probably could. Would you do it? Go down to 1 trade? Probably not either. So other one would be a Tom Green or maybe a Sam Walsh going to someone else. But 571. I mean, Klug's been in really, really good form. That would be a bit of a move. LDU, is he going to be that much better than Tom Green? I don't think so. So I really think I just hold these 2 trades for any long-term injuries. Maybe if we get towards 4 weeks to go, 3 weeks to go, maybe make a move there and get someone in if I haven't had any injuries up until that point still. So hopefully Matty Roberts gets back in the team, maybe if we need some cover there. But I do have Marriage still, Windhager when Dunks is back. So I'm actually okay for cover, but my on-field just isn't quite as good. If we quickly go to some players that I don't know, there's obviously the big one, Tim English, sitting just behind Bont for points this year still. In the top 1%, own everyone up until you get to Zach Merritt, 90% owned. That's, I know what George was talking about now last year, although he probably makes it affect him a bit more, but it's insane just to think, we all watch footy. We watch the same games. No one goes near Zach Merritt. North's been the only team to do it this year, and I think a couple of teams did it, or one, I think Hawthorn did it right early, maybe in round 2. But North was the only one to do it, and it was only after Merritt absolutely tore him to shreds in the first quarter that Liam Shields actually went to him. But Crows just didn't really care. They just let him run free. They got Keys right there, and I think Keys did a roll on Mason Redmond in the back line. Why would you not send someone to Zach Merritt? He's absolutely tearing up the comp at the minute. Don't know why. He's heading towards 700k, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets there soon. Then it's English. Then it's actually Cogs at 70%, which is quite high, and yeah, obviously probably would like to own him instead of DC, but if you get a ruck injury coming up soon, then that's, that'll be the reason why you've got DC, and that'll be handy. Sheasel, been pretty average of late, 54%, and then Will Day, who I just got rid of last week to get track in, still about 50%, and he's been okay actually since getting rid of him. He had a good game 3 weeks ago, not so good last week, and was pretty decent this week, and gets North this week, so might actually go pretty well. And then as far as primos, Luke Ryan's up at 35% now, so maybe I could flick Sinclair to him, but is that really going to be worth it? It might be, the way he's bloody going. 113 average now, far out. 5-round average 120. These big scores are coming back now, the ones he was sort of getting at the start of the year. So, is that going to continue? If Freo keep losing, I guess it will. Collingwood, I expect them to lose. Sydney maybe at home, they get the win. Geelong, I expect them to lose. Brisbane, it might be a go. Port, it might be a go to honestly get him for this run home, where, if you just expect Freo to maybe shit the bed or continue to. Mills is at 25%. That's interesting. So yeah, look, it's really Merritt, it's really English, and then Cogs, I guess, is the next one, who I don't have on the run home, and then in those spots, Briggs for English, it's like a Green or probably more a Walsh for Merritt, who's probably going to lose out there, and then DC for a Cogs, who probably will lose out there too. So, Sicily's going to have to do really big things for me, with no one owning him. Petraka, as I said, Butters, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. That's how I'm set up for the rest of the year, basically. Just some captaincy decisions, and I'll, mostly just talk on the pod, but that's it for this video. I'll just do a quick one each week to see how I'm going if I got time, and I'm probably going to put some effort into maybe some FPL videos for this season. I did it a bit last year, sort of fell away, but if I've got time, I definitely want to, get into that. I've had a good year 2 seasons ago in FPL. Last year wasn't so great. Was more riding, the Gunners and just watching them each week and not watching too much else, but really keen to get back into it this year. I think at the start of FPL, it's always, it's one of the most fun fantasy games to play, new players, new teams, new optimism for the season, how they're all going to go. So I'll probably look at that for sure and get a video up pretty soon, maybe tomorrow, something like that, with my first sort of draft and what I'm thinking. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the podcast tomorrow, and until then, cheers. Got the mojo deals, we been tripping like 80. Pulling out the coupe at the lot.